Hey, and welcome to Tech Tips with Solo Media. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Marcus.
All right, and today we're actually going to talk about planning for large events. You guys know, or maybe you don't know, we work for a TV station, and there's some pluses and minuses to that. Like we're doing bookings for events and productions months ahead of time, sometimes even years ahead of time. But also our flow of work and our flow of effort in project by project is a lot different. It's a different beast than it is working for client-based
Definitely.
commercial stuff, right? We've done some big choir concert events for the channel. We made a decision this year to try to actually record them both as a live mix, like we would for TV, with our broadcast cameras, but also as a cinema mix with the idea in behind that maybe we would sell the separate package that could be separate from just what we produce for the channel.
Right.
And so we thought it was a good opportunity to bring you into our thought process on how exactly we would work with that kind of material in that kind of a program.
Yes.
So choirs.
Right.
With bands.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some planning thoughts. So Marcus has been the main editor for both of these concerts.
True.
And he's been not just the editor, but the music engineer as well. So he's gone through track by track by track, mixing everything. But before we get to Marcus,
Yes.
planning starts a long time in advance. Like we sit down with the talent or whoever's proposing the show long before we decide or agree to do the program. And from that first initial conversation, we talk about what our availability is. They have a lot of musicians. Now you imagine a choir is the entire band, it's the song group, and then organizing that with the right location and our gear and our staff and our calendar. It's a big process.
It is.
And then along the way, deciding that their vision of what the show should be matches our vision of the show. And I think that really is the first step.
Definitely.
And Marcus is pretty much in that right after the first meeting that we have and agree that we're going to do it. Because as the editor and as the music engineer, he actually needs to know the plan and give me insights well in advance.
When it comes to media, it's very, if I should grade different cameras, I need to know what format I can get and what works together.
No, exactly. So, they're spending months and months actually doing the song list and prepping the rehearsals and all that kind of stuff. We're actually spending the time prepping the equipment. So in the TV channel, we have Blackmagic 6K Pros and Ursa. The Ursa wasn't there because you were using it.
I was using it.
Yeah, that's right. But what we did was we took test footage. We took test sample recordings, and we were sending them to Marcus to grade them, to test them in the different log formats, in raw formats, both to see what was the best workflow for us.
Yeah.
Because workflow is important when you're doing any kind of production. You want to know all the way from start to finish before you start, right? We spent a lot of time sending footage back and forth. What was that process like for you, my friend?
Well, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a nice experience because you always tend to think that you could match different cameras, and it's doable. It takes time and practice, and you need to have the right technique to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Marcus, now you know what we've done. We've mixed a lot of cameras, and you have to grade it.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. Aren't you happy?
All right. What's your strategy going to be with this edit here?
So, first thing first, so I also have to do the music editing first. And then we go over to DaVinci, and I have already selected the clips that is in this particular song and made a multicam like this. For the grading bit, I'm going to do a base grade to match all of them at once. and then will go through every single cut and also grade that one. So it matches. It's mostly the luma that will be changing in different shots. Sometimes also the chroma as well. So that's my plan.
That's awesome.
That's really good.
And you get the music to do too.
Yes,
So, but you'll talk about that some on your own.
I can do so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Amazing. Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
The biggest difference I saw between them when you match them really closely with the hue value and the chroma value is the texture of the. You feel a bit of texture in the pocket cameras because they are a cinema camera, more and have more of a texture to it, while the Canons have more of a very clean feel to them.
Yeah. Once all that is decided, once we decided to go forward, the next step was to decide what technology we'd actually be using. Do we want gimbals? Do we want slides? Do we want jibs? Do we want extra lights? Do we need extra lights? And then from the audio side, Linus actually was managing all of the in-house audio recording. So before the sound got to you, Linus was working with the choir director, deciding, okay, we're going to have drums, or we're going to have a cello, no cello this time. So understanding what equipment we needed, and then understanding which software we would be recording in.
Yes.
And just so you guys know, in the studio upstairs, in our TV work, we use a Digico S21, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I knew that. I was involved in the purchase of it, not, not using it.
But you're filming when there's no music.
Make a beatbox.
No.
Ja, lite mer åt...
Good job, bro. Good job.
I'm trying.
And from that, we record to what software, Marcus?
We record to Logic.
And that's a big part of it, knowing like long before, because if you have to rent something else, and I think Linus did actually rent some choir mics because we had such a massive choir in both incidents, we had to actually make sure we brought in enough gear to cover it. So we had to actually design a set that both the choir director and the groups were okay with, that worked for our team. We had to rent in risers for the choir to stand on, plenty of chairs for them to sit on. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it well ahead of when you actually do the recording.
Yeah.
We printed for one of the programs backgrounds, like these long backgrounds to make it look like a forest. Linus was the one that was producing the program originally, and he wanted these birch trees. Sweden is just full of beautiful white birch trees. And there's just nowhere that he could find birch trees. So he calls me, go shoot some birch trees. Like he gave me the task that I should go. So I did, because I'm a good boss. No. But anyway, no, we shot hundreds of pictures of birch trees and then picked out the best ones, edited them, printed them. Even the detail of every birch tree that's in the background. That somebody's got to do that. Somebody's got to plan for that. In this case, Linus planned it to be me. But the set design, it's important. Then lighting, planning, making sure that all the positions of all of the musicians are in the right spot.
Well, you often place the drummer and the bass player at the same spot because they almost always want to hear the same thing. And you put the guitars and the piano always often close to them because they want to look at the same notes, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So again, everything has to be planned, and then the lighting for those things needs to be planned accordingly.
Right.
Yeah. So now the actual day of, there's so many things that can go out of whack. We've had everything from the pianist being sick last minute, and then having to bring in a pianist that's never played with them before. Like, we've done that. It didn't happen this time. But the more that you plan for, the more that you're able to have people on standby in case somebody's sick, equipment in case something breaks. Gimbals, for example. We had 2 gimbals in use, but we had 3 gimbals on set. So if one gimbal went down, we had a backup plan for it. We had backup slide available. We really tried to plan so that our staff aren't working in excess of their regular workday. But you're still planning too that if the day goes over, there's food available for everybody, there's batteries enough for all the gear, there's memory card for all the gear in case there has to be a retake. Everything is prepared. And there's a backup plan for everything.
Right.
So the more planning you put into it, the easier it is for you to pivot if something goes crazy.
But as a musician coming in, that they feel confident, like
Yes.
they have a good monitoring system, or they have a good studio guy that smiles to them and make them
Yes.
feel confident in what they're doing. That's very important.
That is so important. And actually, to my next point too, once everybody was here and in place, my role suddenly went from making sure everything was there and in place and planned for to cheerleader and basically time manager for the day. So oftentimes, again, a musician who's used to playing in front of concerts and all that sort of stuff, they're actually not used to having 15 camera people right in front of them,
Right.
like with 2 meters or 3 meters in front of them, just no smiles, panning around them, all this equipment everywhere, the bright lights they're used to. But what we ended up doing was, in between takes, I would come in and cheer and clap and, oh guys, that was incredible, very good. I had my camera crew trained, ready to clap for them and cheer for them too, so that they had that feeling of relaxed. They said if you do it as good this time, they won't even have to remaster it. Record all my camera guys, recording?
Recording.
Recording. Good. All right, this one is for real. Woo! Woo! Yeah. And Linus, ready? Let's go. We also did this thing where we rehearsed the songs first. So each song by song, we would get them to play through. I would make some last minute thoughts and notes. Okay, so the pianist has this great solo. I actually want to get a close-up of that because we're going to bring that up in the final mix. Or, this person in the choir has this solo or bass line or whatever. It gives us a chance both to really, at the end of that rehearsal, pump up the choir, pump up the band, and also say, okay, that's great. Jacob, you're going to go in with the gimbal, get the piano. Benjamin, you're going to go over here and get that guy in the back. And it just gets those last minute details into the production. And so that was my job on site. I had Linus upstairs in the headset talking to me. And if there was a mistake with audio too, we were prepared with that communication. Linus would say down to me, we have to redo that part. There was definitely something that wasn't quite in tune. And they feel more comfortable that way too, because they have that feedback. Yeah, let's rehearse that one more time and get that key right, right? So again, before we got there the day of, I made sure that the crew knew what positions they were doing. So like, for example, Jake was prepared. He had his right shoes on for being a gimbal guy, making sure that we're communicating with each other and the whole entire sound picture and the story is being told visually. That's the most important thing day of.
Yeah. Right.
Do your thing.
Okay. So let's take a closer look at what I did with the mix then. So here I have a very large amount of tracks. In my program, Studio One, when I do multi-track mixing, it's what I use. I start with making everything in groups. And so the drums have one group, so it has one color. And the piano has one group, so it has one colors and so forth.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and we have some ambience mics, and we had some vocals as well.
We had so many mics on set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I used the ones that make sense, of
Yeah,
course.
makes sense. Yeah.
So to start a mix, I always listen to the genre to see what do I want to make of this, and then I try to find something similar that is online that's to give me a goal, so to speak. So when I have found that, I actually have a new trick that I use every time. So I play a bit of that track that I found into a program called Audio Lengths that captures the signal coming in and the tonal channels and the compression and everything. And then this other guy called Ozone 10 that just recently released can listen to that and make my program sound almost the same.
One of the things we did afterwards too, Linus and I delivered the media to you, and we actually sat with him, gave him insights from what the musicians were feeling the day of, gave him insights about things that we felt went good or bad in the recording.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, the communication the whole way through. And then once Marcus was done, he was sending us immediately tracks to listen to that we were sharing with the choir director as well, and getting approval all the way through. So the process of communicating and planning never ends until it's on air.
Right. When I have captured it and put it into this program here, it generates this tonal balance line here. That's just a visual thing, and when you play it, you also see how far off you are.
Oh.
And it can also apply the different tools underneath it that you could adjust. And if you take a look at some of them, you can see, for instance, the EQ. You see a huge boost here in the low end.
Yeah.
That means you could do something with the mix individually on the track level.
Yeah.
To make it a less of a boost in the master chain. So it comes closer and closer to the final mix that you want to put out. When the master chain is done, you go through track by track and make as decent mix as you can possibly, and choose where to put every single instrument to make it they don't run into each other in frequencies and whatnot. Also, since it is a big band and we have a choir and we have solo singers and everything, we want the words of the lyrics to be very pronounced.
Yes.
Even if the song is very busy with many instruments and stuff like that. So all the music is going into one bus here, and it takes some time to set up. But here I have an EQ that has dynamically. Every time the vocal sings, it puts the
Whole music EQ down.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I see that.
The frequencies that are
That are colliding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right on.
So
See, Marcus is so good, he can even explain it that I understand.
so that's very useful and very helpful for making the words, the sibilance of the words that makes it easy to pick up.
Yeah.
to
No,
go
exactly.
through.
Marcus's workflow is actually psychotic, both when he's doing his editing and when he's doing his grade or his music as well. And I mean psychotically organized, like it is so insanely organized, it's not even funny.
I want to work as fast as possible, and I want my tools to do the work for me.
Yeah.
And not like to tweak every single tool every single time is not my thing. I want the tool to figure out itself what to do.
Oh.
So let me just quickly show you.
Yeah.
On the vocal level here, this compressor.
Yeah.
And it's holding the signal for 240 milliseconds, and that makes it you don't hear the compression. It just makes the signal going into the chain always even.
Yeah.
So then I always know that I don't need to mess with my EQ, adjusting the tonal balance of the mic was used. I don't need to mess with the compressor that I used for just compressing. I just know that everything is at the same level all the time.
Oh, but I mean, it makes so much sense doing it this way. What I think I just wanted to do real quick was give you guys a checklist when planning. So when we're doing planning for any events, it's availability first. You're checking talent, crew, location. You're checking rentals next. If there's anything you need to rent, whether it is the location itself, catering for the event, extra technology like mics and lights and risers for the people to stand on, any of those kind of things you want to have well in advance so that you're not the week of going, oh no, I can't get the risers.
Right.
Rooms, if they have to stay overnight, if it's a 2-day production. Then the next one is details. What do the performers need? Do they have any special needs like allergies? Do they have a song list? How do we want to build the rundown for the day, for example,
Right.
based on what they are going to perform? And then what do we need for tech power, for recording formats, delivery formats, because you want to make sure that workflow matches.
Yeah.
And have a sound strategy. Make sure that the sound technicians are on point with you and have an idea of exactly how they want to set it up.
Yeah.
Again, making the rundown for the event, including time for both food, media breaks, transferring breaks, but also food breaks for the staff. So while we're transferring the first episode over or the first segments over, everybody can sit and have a coffee and there can be a peaceful, happy environment. And then media management is my final tip, planning for the folder structure. So you're not, like I put all the cameras that I want in each element of it, I make the folder ahead of time. So then I even know if I missed a card. Oh, I don't have the slides card. I don't have the gimbals card. So that's important. And then I hand it over to the editors. And then from the editors, we make sure that we have a plan for preview. So both the choir director or talent or like Ida, when we're doing the cooking program, can see the final product before we publish it everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Marcus's tips.
Yeah, so in this case, when we had both these programs, we had a lot of media from different cameras and different codecs and everything. So start with labeling one folder just the track of the song, the track name, and then find every angle that is in that song and put it into that folder inside of the media management of the inside of DaVinci to make it more easy to just quickly see what song is with what cameras.
No, exactly.
Angles.
Thank you, Marcus, so much for being here, brother. And guys, thank you for watching. I hope you find this kind of media helpful. And I hope you like and subscribe.
Do so.
We'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye.
Bye.